God, I take a month-long break from reviewing Godzilla movies, and I still end up reviewing things from Japan or that involve giant monsters. Even Ready Player One, at the very least, had a Godzilla character pop up, and it involved giant things fighting each other. Don't worry, folks, this will be the last one before I get back into Godzilla. Rampage is the latest attempt at a video game movie, and this one stars Dwayne Johnson as an animal caretaker for this albino gorilla named George. All of a sudden, these mysterious containers from space fall all over the United States, and they infect 3 animals, a wolf, a crocodile, and George the albino gorilla. So this results in George growing at a much larger size, and he suddenly starts making his way towards Chicago, along with a mutated wolf and a mutated crocodile. So it's up to Dwayne Johnson to suit up, save his friend George, and possibly destroy the monsters as well. So we just had a video game movie not too long ago, Tomb Raider, which I didn't think was very good. In fact, I was downright bored with that movie. But Rampage is an interesting subject because I'm probably one of the few people out there that's aware that Rampage is actually a game. I went to a special screening that was, again, hosted by Stardust and Real D. Thank you guys for hosting it. And a lot of the people that I talked to were kind of unaware that it was a video game originally. It was an arcade game that really stuck out to me because I'm me, and I love giant monsters, and George the gorilla is obviously supposed to be King Kong. Lizzie the lizard is obviously supposed to be like Godzilla, and nobody gives a shit about Ralph. He's just a mutated wolf. I was never a huge fan of Rampage, but it was appealing to play from time to time whenever I would come across it at the arcades. So when watching all the trailers for this movie, it has jack shit to do with the game because the origins of the animals are different. Instead of being mutated from humans, they're just regular animals that suddenly got mutated by this weird chemical. And they obviously had to make George white instead of brown. That sounds like whitewashing. I mean, the fur. Because in the game, George looks too much like King Kong, and they had to change Lizzie to a crocodile instead of a Godzilla-like monster, or else Toho would have a field day with their lawyers. So yeah, judging from the trailers immediately, it has nothing to do with the game, which is actually beneficial. There are a few select moments here and there where it pays homage to the game, but it's probably only 2 moments I can think of, and they're very, very brief and minimal. Other than that, I think this is the best video game movie out there. Now, it's not technically a good movie, but I had a lot of fun watching it, and maybe it's because monster movies are my kryptonite. It could very well be that case. But I just had a lot of fun watching this movie, and it's kind of self-aware of what exactly it is. It's a goofy monster movie that has The Rock spewing a bunch of one-liners. A lot of times it works, and sometimes it doesn't. I think the biggest strength of the movie is Dwayne Johnson. A lot of people sound like broken records whenever we talk about Dwayne Johnson, but he is just so damn charismatic, and he really carries the movie. His relationship with George is actually pretty good. There are some legitimate laughs, and the chemistry just works between these two characters, given the fact that George is a CGI gorilla. So The Rock very much knew what kind of movie this was, and so did Jeffrey Dean Morgan, who plays this over-the-top FBI agent with a heavy Texas accent. There were points where I was just so worried that he would get on my nerves, just basing him off the trailer, but he managed to be a little bit charming in his own way, even if he did very much start off as that FBI government douchebag. But look, all you care about with this kind of movie are the action scenes, and are they well done? Yeah, they're very well done. In fact, I actually had more fun in this movie than I did with Pacific Rim Uprising. The action scenes are filmed from a distance, usually from a bird's eye perspective. The action is clear, there are no quick cuts, there are no close-ups, and you get all the kinds of monster rampage action, no pun intended, that you could ever hope for. And it's in the 3rd act where it definitely delivers. And also, I didn't expect this movie to be as violent as it was. It's PG-13, but there are a few points in the movie where it's really pushing for an R rating because you see a lot of gore, you see some dismemberment here and there, you see creatures and people getting impaled, and there's a moment in the movie when we first get introduced to the wolf where it plays out very much like a horror movie, even if there are points where it's obviously a ripoff of Aliens. I guarantee a lot of people are going to call this movie out in that scene. Now, just because I had a lot of fun with this movie and I did enjoy it, don't let that fool you into thinking that this is actually a good movie. movie, because there's a lot that's wrong with this film as well. While Dwayne Johnson and Jeffrey Dean Morgan knew exactly the kind of movie they were getting into, Malin Åkerman does not. She plays the human villain of the film, and for me, her character just did not work at all. First of all, she's terrible in this movie. And the reason she's terrible is because she plays this role so seriously that it's just cheesy, but not in a good way. Malin Åkerman thinks that she's in a serious movie, and because she's not on the same page, she doesn't come across as very good. And two, never know what her motivation is. She is very much in this movie what Patrick Dempsey was in Transformers Dark of the Moon. They're both the human villains of the piece, and you just don't understand why they're the villains. With Malin Åkerman, you don't know what her motivation is. And with Patrick Dempsey, his motivation is so nonsensical and so stupid that it pisses you off. Of course, I had to go on a Transformers rant, but you know me, I hate those movies. Though I will say that her character gets the biggest payoff in the film in terms of, yeah, she had that coming. And it was a moment that got people laughing. When the rest of the movie tries to be dead serious, it just doesn't work, and I find myself a little bored. And then there are also a few one-liners that just don't really work. There's one in particular that Dwayne Johnson delivers, and it's a one-liner that's obviously supposed to be played for laughs, but nobody was laughing. And then everybody started laughing because nobody was laughing. And that alone probably got the biggest laugh out of me throughout the entire film, outside of one obvious moment that I saw coming a mile away, but even then, that was a fake laugh. So overall, in the end, I had a lot of fun with this. But I will say watch at your own risk. But maybe in the most enthusiastic way I can. If you are intrigued by the trailers, or you think that this is going to be a good time, it's going to be a good time. Don't expect this to be a great movie whatsoever. And I still believe that this is the best video game movie that we have, which really wasn't that hard to do. But if you're looking for something a little better, and you were never intrigued by the trailers, then this is not the movie for you. So just go in, make your own judgment. If you go into this movie knowing that it's going to be goofy, then you're going to have a good time. And there are no plot elements in the movie that pissed me off the way Pacific Rim did. So yeah, this is one I could recommend, but nothing you have to rush out and see. And that's my review for Rampage. I hope you enjoyed it. Leave a comment down below and tell me what your thoughts are on the movie, if and when you've seen it. And as always, this is the real Mr. Robinson telling you there's only one.